Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video, I'm going to show you guys how to play Deep Dive. So let's get started. So in Deep Dive, we're going to send our penguins down into the depths in order to find food. And food is victory points. Now, the deeper we go into the depths, the deeper we go, the more points that we can get for the food that we find. Okay? But the deeper you go, the more dangerous it becomes. Okay? Now, there are still predators in the first level depth, but there are 5 depth levels. Depth 1, and if you're colorblind or if everything looks exactly the same on the screen, each of the depths are signified by a dot. So depth 1 has 1 dot. Depth 2 has 2 dots. Depth 3 has these 3 dots on it. Depth 4 has 4 dots, and depth 5 will have 5 dots. So that way you can easily tell in case colors seem very similar to you, perhaps. So on our turn, we are going to send a penguin into the first depth, okay? Depth 1. We have to flip over a tile. Okay, now there are 4 types of tiles that we will flip over, that potentially flip over. One will be food, which is good. Food is good. Another tile that you might, however, encounter is a predator. And if you get a predator, then your penguin will be stuck with the predator for a while, which obviously means you didn't get food on your turn. Because you're only allowed to send 1 penguin at a time per turn. So if you aren't able to get any food one turn, that does mean, for instance, if your penguin did get stuck with a predator, that does mean you didn't get food that turn. So basically, you perhaps wasted a turn. But it is not over yet. Because you see, you have 3 penguins in the game. And so if a penguin does encounter a predator and gets stuck with it, then you can still send these penguins down into the depths. And if a depth has a penguin that is trapped with a predator, you are allowed to skip that depth. So instead of flipping over a tile here on my next turn after player 2 went, I could skip it and search here at level 2 for a tile. So it does help a little bit having some penguins here and there being trapped by predators to perhaps get you further down to the bottom of the depths, okay? Which has the more expensive, point-wise food for you, obviously. Now, there are 2 other types of tiles that you might encounter. If you ever get the open ocean tile, which is what this is, with all the bubbles on it, it means you must move on to the next depth. So that means that you didn't catch any food here at that point, but you have to flip over the next tile anyways. It forces you to go to the next depth to flip over another tile. So if that's what you get, if you get this, you just move on. But if it's food, you have the option to either take that food and bring it back, or to continue going down. So when you flip over food, you don't have to take the food that you get. You can leave it face up and continue your way down into the depths of the ocean. So that's how you're going to help you further along and get further down, is by finding fish and continuously going down. Or, of course, by finding these, which force you down anyways. Now, another type of tile that you might encounter is the rock tile. And the rock tile is another tile that you can skip and continue going down if you want to, or you can take it back with you and put it into your little inventory. Then on your next turn, you can use that rock tile to immediately send your penguin all the way down to the bottoms of the depth. So thematically, it's like the penguin has swallowed the rock, which has helped it go all the way down to the very bottom. And then you can flip over that one of those down there for a possible chance of getting obviously a more powerful food item that will give you more points, obviously. So that's an option. That's why you may want to take a rock back with you if you can manage to find one. You don't have to, but it is optional, and it might be a good option to do that. So the rock tile is a very useful one if you want to try to get something really good, potentially. But still, it's a push your luck game, and so if you end up coming across the predator thanks to that rock token, well, oh well. Now, if you ever get all of your penguins trapped, so let's say there was a predator here and my penguin was trapped there, same with here, and let's say this penguin was here and it was trapped by a predator. When that happens, they can all come back. So the game is not done. So just because you've got 3 trapped penguins does not mean the game is over, okay? But you get to bring them back. Now, if there is a face-up food in one of the depth levels that you have a trapped penguin, you're allowed to take just one of your choice back with you as a consolation prize for having gotten all of your penguins trapped by a predator. That's how that's going to work, right? That's how that would work. And then the way the game triggers the end of game, the way you would trigger it is if all of the tiles from one depth, and it can be any depth, if all of the tiles are flipped over. So if there are no tiles to flip over in a depth, then that triggers the end of game. Then depending on who was obviously first player, so you'll get this first player token, okay? And let's say player 2 is the one that triggered the end of game. They will finish their turn, obviously, and then it will go to the first player. And the first player will get to take a turn, and then the second player will get to take a turn, for instance. Then it will go back to the first player, and the first player will then flip this over, last dive, meaning they get one more turn, and so does player 2. So you're going to get potentially 2 more turns after the game is done. So you still potentially could get some more food even after you trigger the end of the game. Now, if it's one of these rows, it's not the one on the bottom, but if it's one of these middle rows that completely all the tiles get flipped over, then when you are exploring the depths, you can just simply skip that next depth and go down to the next one, as if that entire depth had penguins trapped for all players in that depth. That's how that would work, okay? Now, the way you're going to score points in this game is, let's just flip over some tiles. So when you get a tile, let's say I put this here, I can put this here, okay? It's yellow. The next tile that I happen to get, if it's, ooh, that's not one. Oh, no, it's not going to work. Oh, here we go. You'll notice this one is a different color. So because it's a different color, you're going to put it into the same row as the first one. You see, there's only 3 colors: yellow, green, and pink. Okay? You're going to make columns of the same color, and you're going to make rows of different colors. Now, you can have any depth level in any row or column. It doesn't matter. Like, for instance, your very first animal tile that you get could potentially be the furthest one down there on the very bottom of the depths. And it could be the very first one, and it could be in the very first row, is what I'm saying. So any food and color can be in any row or in any row anyway. Obviously not in any column, depending on what color it is. But yeah, you're going to form rows, and you're going to try to complete said row. So you're going to want to try to complete the row if you can. So like, for instance, this one's also yellow, so now I have to start that next column. I want to get a pink one because, you see, you want to try to complete your rows, because all of the points that you get in a row that's complete, you get to keep. If you have an incomplete row that doesn't have 3 tiles in the row, then you have to basically subtract by half and rounding down. So if you had 9 points in a row that was incomplete, you'd only get 4 points. So not even half, you'd be getting less than half, but obviously just by 1 off. So you'll still be getting some points, but not the full amount. So you want to try to obviously complete as many rows as you possibly can. So while sure, you could potentially get some good food right away, you might selectively decide to, for instance, only go for certain food. That would help you complete your rows. you know? That's what you're going to try to do. So you might find yourself getting a lot of the same color. But if you get too many of the same color and you don't get all three of the others, then you're not going to get as many points as somebody who focused on completing their rows rather than adding on to the columns. So that's just, a potential strategy. So while it is push your luck, as you want to get the better fish, you also want to try to get some of the different colored fish to help you complete the rows, even if that means you have to take one that is in a lower depth. Now, when you decide to take a tile from this location, if there's a tile that is face up, you may take that. So let's say I was in this depth here, and there was at least one tile that was face up that had obviously had, food on it. I could take this immediately and end my turn, for instance. I could do that. Or I could flip over a tile if I wanted to. However, if I wanted to go down further, I would have to flip over a tile in order to go down further. And then, for instance, if I wanted a food that was face up here, because I flipped over a tile to get down to here, then I could take a food that was face up and add it to my tableau, basically. So that's basically everything you need to know on how to play the game. So I'm just going to do kind of a trial run to kind of show you guys how it's going to work gameplay-wise. But for the most part, that should be enough for you to understand how to play the game. So let's just do a little demonstration of a potential gameplay. Now, we kind of uncovered those tiles, so we know what they are. So I'm not going to flip these tiles over because I know what they are. And we're going to start with the green player. So he's just going to, let's say, flip this one over. Ooh, and it's a pink shrimp. So he'll leave that there for the moment because you know what? We want better. We want something better than shrimp. We want something more delicious. So let's flip this one over. Ooh, and it's an open ocean. So that means I have to go down even further. Okay, so let's, ooh, and it's another open ocean. So that means I have to go down even further. Oh, okay, here we goes, nothing. Ooh, that's pretty good. It's a tuna, a green tuna. We'll take that. So then that means I get to bring my penguin back. No penguins were harmed in the capturing of this tuna. So, okay, and then light blue could take their turn. They could take this if they really wanted to, but you know what they want? They want something better for their penguins. They want something more exquisite for their penguins to enjoy. So they're going to flip over a tile, some other tile. Oh, and it's another shrimp of even lesser points, so they definitely don't want that. So they're going to continue on going down into the depths. So let's see, we'll flip over this one. Oh, it's a seal. It's a dangerous animal. So now that blue player, has to leave their penguin there, and their turn is done. Basically, right? Now it's back to green. Green's doing well. They haven't encountered any predators yet. Will their luck run out? Well, let's see. So, I'm not going to do these. So let's flip this one over. Oh, unlucky. The first tile is a seal. So now the penguin is trapped with that predator. I didn't get anything either. It looks like my luck ran out there. Okay, so now player 2 will go. They'll flip over a tile. Ooh, another shrimp, the same color. They want something better for their penguins, though, so they'll continue going down. And look, ooh, it's a crab. Yes, now technically they could skip that level, but no, they're going to take this one because the other player's already got some food, so, they'll take that for now and come back. They can always skip that level later, but now they've got something to show. Yeah, a crab is certainly better than a shrimp, although the points are the same as this one over here. Oh, well. Then player 1 will go, and obviously they don't want any of those, so then they're going to do that, and they're going to move down, and they're going to take one from here. And wouldn't you know it, it's another. Now, of course, I still could have skipped this one, but it's another predator. So now that means that this penguin is also trapped. Oh, man, bummer. How unlucky is that? Okay, now player 2 can go. They don't have anyone trapped here yet, so they'll flip this one. Oh, and what do you know? It's another predator, so he's trapped. Okay, back to player 1. I'm going to skip this one because I can, because I have a penguin trapped. I can also skip this depth because I have a penguin trapped. So let's flip over this one here. And whoa, we get to move on down to the depths of the ocean for even further. So let's push our luck and go further down. Ooh, it's a yellow tuna. That's pretty nice. I might be tempted to take that, but you know what? Let's push our luck even further and... oh, take this one. Ooh, I lucked out. It's a squid. And so now we get to come back up with a squid. What exquisite delight. We got a squid, and it's a different color, so it will go here. And we just need pink in order to complete that row. Sweet. Okay. All right, player 2. Back to player 2. So player 2, they have a penguin trapped here, so they can skip it, and here. So they're going to flip over this one. Ooh, some sardines by the looks of it. And it's green, but they don't want green. They want a different color. So you know what? They're going to take advantage of my face-up tile and take this nice tuna because it looks sweet and delicious for them. And they're going to come back just like that. Okay, cool. Back to me. All right, push our luck here. Okay, well, we can still skip the first 2 levels, so we're going to go here. And it's more sardines. But it's not a color we want, really, so we're going to keep going down. Ooh, and that means we have to skip that depth as well. So now... oh, it's a shark. Oh, no. That does mean that all of our penguins will now come back. So there are no face-up fish there for this penguin in that depth. So I can't take anything from there. There are no face-up fish in this depth that has a trapped penguin. So I can't take anything from there. And now that's why I wanted to take one from here, just in case. Because you see, there is plenty of food in this depth. And because I did end up encountering a predator here, I can take one of these face-up ones. So you know what? We're going to take this pink shrimp, so that way we can complete our first row. And then I get all my penguins back. All right, and then player 2, they still have a penguin. They can continuously dive down. They can skip the first 2 levels, so they still want a pink one. So, and wouldn't you know it, it's a predator. Now, all of their penguins are trapped, but they can take something from this depth since there is some food available face up. So they're going to take this one, the green sardines with them back to the surface, as well as all of their penguins get to come back up like so. And voila. And the game continues until obviously all of the tiles would be flipped face up. But you basically get the flow of the game. So I hoped this was very informative. I hope this helps you guys out. And if the game was to end right now, I would get 15 points for my row, while my opponent would get 7 points, and since this is an even number here, 2 points. So he would get 9 points, and I would get 15 points. So I would win at this current point in the game, if the game was to, for some reason, end right there. But yeah, that's basically everything you need to know in order to play this game. I hope it helped it out. Hope it helped you guys out. Don't forget to leave me a like if you guys liked this how to play video. And I'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye.